You're listening to KO City Pirate Radio, the only true place of freedom left on the airwaves from the squares looking to take us down. But you can't take down the rush, the adrenaline, and the high-octane make-your-mama-cry action that is Knockout City Brawling, baby. That's right, all you cool cats and bodacious brawlers down there in the big city. We're talking about some good old-fashioned dodgeball. But not just any kind of dodgeball, you dig? We're talking about the hottest joint in town, the flyest place to be. So if you're just some wet rag looking to nod off to some tunes, you can change the channel now, cause this party's only just begun. And let me tell you listeners, this one's a real knockout. Released on May 21st, 2021, Knockout City is a third-person online multiplayer dodgeball game with a few unique quirks. Originally revealed with a trailer showcasing characters from other potentially more interesting games, the actual game looked a bit lackluster in its initial reveal. But thanks in part to a free trial period shortly after the game's launch and my own innate curiosity, I played a few rounds, and I'm happy to say that it's just an absolute blast of a game to play. And play some more. Look, the title of this video isn't lying. For the last few weeks in my free time, I've basically been playing this game, hopping into matches, throwing dodgeballs at people's faces with reckless abandon, and reaping the rewards therein. It's not very often I get fixated on a game like this, preferring instead to bounce from game to game to experience as much as I can, but something about the way this game plays has kept me hooked for the better part of 3 weeks. I've picked up 6 games in that same time frame, including this one, and while I may have put a few hours into most of those other titles, I've put in well over 100 hours into Knockout City already. So rather than feel sorry for myself for buying way too many games that I haven't had the chance to play, I'm instead going to take the energy I've already put into Knockout City and turn it into a review for all of you. So sit back, relax, and let me tell y'all a little something about Knockout City. Alright brawlers, it's time to kick back and think fast so you can catch these sounds I'm about to throw down. There's a lot of good in this city, and you all know I can't help but share the love. If I wasn't already on the moon, I'd be on cloud 9, daddy-o. And this is that good stuff y'all been waiting to hear. Knockout City could have very easily just been a dodgeball game. It could have had you in a gymnasium or some sort of arena throwing balls at an opposing team across from you, and they could have called it a day. But Valiant Studios took it a step further than that. Instead of just generic looking characters with gym clothes or sports attire, players jump into a world that's teeming with a unique cyberpunk meets Grease Lightning aesthetic. Character customization options, the arenas you fight in, the announcer for the matches, everything fits surprisingly well together and helps give this game an identity and a whole unique style all its own. And I'm personally thankful they decided to do away with the strange marketing decision of unrelated characters playing the game and are just showcasing this game now for the unique experience that it already is in all the trailers. Let's start by looking at the character customization, which is not only one of the more creative sides of the game, but also the game's primary reward structure. When you start, you have a few different outfits to choose from, alongside a few options for changing your character's face, glider, bits of flair, and things like that. Customize away, make a flapper boy or a tough girl for all the game cares. There's no gender-specific clothing, and you're free to just be you. But once you actually start playing and earning experience, you start earning more holobucks, unlock tokens for additional costume colors, and just new outfits and customization items in general with each level you unlock. Your reward for everything you do in the game is more customization options, giving you more ways to express yourself and slap your stamp onto the game world. And because nothing you unlock gives any player an inherent advantage over someone else in terms of gameplay, it's all for your own sake and desire. I do have a minor problem with this, but I'll get back into that in a little bit later. Then, there's the stages themselves. While at launch there are only 5 stages players will be bouncing back and forth between, each one has their own unique features and layouts that are not only surprisingly balanced, but offer even more unique flair to the game. Galaxy Burger is a circular arena with a rotating platform in the middle. Jukebox Junction has trains coming in and out that can knock players out of the match. Rooftop Rumble features upward air currents that let players glide faster and close to endlessly. Knowing how to use each level's unique feature is as important as knowing where your team is and what balls you have at your disposal. But while the art style and overall aesthetic can certainly be integral to a game's success, it's the gameplay that's ultimately important. And thankfully, the game delivers on that spectacularly. At its core, Knockout City is essentially a third-person shooter, but instead of guns that shoot bullets or guns that shoot ink, you get balls. Rubber balls, squished balls, boom balls, people balls, just a whole lot of balls to throw around with reckless abandon. Each match starts by showcasing what special ball will be available during said match, cycling through the 5 available options and landing on one of them. The sniper ball lets you target an enemy from across the map as opposed to a few meters away and hold on to that lock, where once it's charged up, it'll launch like a rocket towards the enemy with a much more intense speed than normal. While holding the moon ball, your jumps gain moon gravity, allowing you better and slower control in air as well as forcing that onto your opponent when you hit them. The multi-ball taps into that desire we all have for more pinball and gives you 3 balls to use at once, throwing one at a time but giving the option for quick succession or holding back for more strategic throws. Beyond just that, there's the ultimate throw, where you take a teammate, roll them up into a ball, charge them up, and then unleash them towards the heavens, turning them from a mild-mannered swinger into the dodgeball equivalent of a nuke. Even if you don't charge them up, you can still throw your allies or be thrown yourself, resulting in an instant knockout if you connect with your opponent. Regardless of what map you're on or what ball you have at your disposal, the game boils down to teams of either 3 or 4 players trying to earn more knockouts than your opponent, with additional game modes offering more variety to the game beyond just casual and ranked matches. There's a kill confirm style game mode where enemies drop diamonds when they're hit, as well as a mode where they remove dodgeballs altogether, requiring you to instead throw your teammates in a chaotic spectacle of carnage. But these side modes don't really detract from the primary way the game is played, and after nearly 100 hours of playing, the core gameplay loop is still fun and engaging to me. All of this coalesces into a surprisingly fun, often tense, and wildly varied dodgeball game with an incredible aesthetic and fantastic designs. So the game looks great and plays great. It must be great, right? Well... Listen up, brawlers, cause I'm only gonna say it once. Not everything's so good in the city, you dig? Now I ain't no square, but some stuff's gotta change in this gig unless you're cruising for a bruising. So lend me your ears and hang for a hot minute, cause we gonna talk about the bad stuff now. With as much fun as I have with this game, I can't say that it is perfectly made. The game runs fine, and there's no real problem with the presentation of the game itself, as I've already clearly laid out, but there are a couple things that cause trepidation within me. First and foremost, the lack of invincibility frames after being hit can both be a blessing and a curse. Invincibility frames in games give you a moment to recoup yourself after being hit, and many multiplayer games have them, but not this one. Players are only given 2 hearts, meaning you can get hit a maximum of 2 times before you're knocked out, and that can lead to some pretty frustrating moments. With items like the multi-ball or having the luck of being near multiple dodgeballs at once, a player can spam past their opponent's ability to catch the ball or dodge out of the way quick enough to knock them out. This happens even more often when 2 or more players gang up on a lone player, and this can be unbearably frustrating to deal with if you're the one being targeted, and yet sadistically satisfying to pull off if you're the attacker. But it's not just the lack of temporary invincibility to get yourself righted that needs to be addressed. The matchmaking system itself does too. More commonly in casual matches than in ranked, I found myself loading into matches halfway through or onto an incomplete team, leaving me at a disadvantage for most if not the rest of the match. What's more, you can potentially load into a match at a disadvantage, one of your teammates either not loading in properly or leaving before the match even starts, and in multiple instances where I experienced this, I remained on a 2 versus 3 matchup from start to finish, rather than the matchmaking system dropping in a third teammate for me and my new partner. Both of these, when combined with the very rare but still somewhat annoying to deal with connection issues I ran into, can be infuriating on their own. But for me, the most egregious problem with the game is the fact that it wants you to spend money on it after you already bought it. Now, microtransactions are nothing new, and keep in mind, as I already laid out, you can unlock cosmetic items through standard play, with some assistance by completing contracts. The problem here is that while you can unlock items through this method, it is extremely slow going, especially when you get to higher levels. As of me writing this, I'm level 72 in the game, and it takes me an average of 4 to 6 matches to even earn the next level, contracts not included. With a match taking anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes, that's a lot of time to invest for the chance to maybe get a cosmetic with the new level. But then again, I could always just drop $10 or $15 on some holobucks and buy the cosmetics from the brawl shop, right? This is honestly the biggest blemish on the game for me, since the presentation before each match so heavily emphasizes player expression that it incentivizes getting the best gear, even if it offers no in-game advantage whatsoever. It's the same mentality that Fortnite's entire business model was born from, and is extremely predatory. And since this is an EA published game, you know it doesn't quite stop there. The exchange rate for cash to holobucks is just abysmal, where even the low-end buy-in value can maybe get you a rare item if it happens to appear in the Brawl shop. Flashier and rarer items cost much more and rarely appear, and for some people it's a combination that can spell certain doom for their wallets. Is this a problem enough to keep me from playing the game? No, but I also have control over my impulses enough to not drop money onto a game for something like this. I just wish the EXP game was just that little bit better balanced, so it was less of an incentive to drive players towards paying money for more stuff. But then again, it wouldn't be an EA game without that, now would it? I can live with the connection issues and lack of invincibility frames, but trying to pry money out of someone so they can have a victory dance where they throw on a pizza costume randomly? Well, okay, that one's random but also kind of funny, but it's still not worth the price they're asking for it. Well, brawlers, we're coming close to the end of this here shindig. We ain't done just yet though, so don't turn that dial and get your foot off that gas, cause we're gearing up for an unreal finale. So stay tuned, stay tight, and above all else, stay here listening to more KO City Pirate Radio. Knockout City is, first and foremost, a multiplayer game, and I typically don't get too invested in games like it. There are of course exceptions, but every once in a while I manage to get into a game that's fun, engaging, and holds my interest for quite a lot longer than I thought it would. Knockout City has become the latest one of those for me, and I'm glad I had a chance to try before I bought it. The gameplay is fun and engaging with a high skill ceiling to master. The uniqueness to each of the maps and special dodgeballs brings a fantastic variety to the game, and the cyber greaser aesthetic is fantastically unique and works surprisingly well with the world it offers. However, I cannot personally endorse a game with microtransactions like this, even if it's just for cosmetics. If the cosmetics were more easily obtainable without money, or you weren't locked to a limited selection behind a daily changing store or random drops through play progression, I would probably feel different about it. But this game too heavily incentivizes paying into it in a similar fashion to Fortnite, a game whose storefront is also incredibly problematic. On top of that, a few minor issues with online matchmaking keep this one from being a truly spectacular experience, and instead leads to multiple frustrating instances online. Overall, I mostly enjoy my time playing Knockout City, and if the gameplay I've shown here intrigues you, I recommend trying it out for yourself. I don't often give scores for games. I would probably rank this one highly though. It offers intense and nail-biting action with a unique atmosphere, and if you want to get a group of friends together, I personally feel like it's more than worth your time. And there you have it, brawlers. I hope you've enjoyed your brief look into Knockout City, and hope to see some of you kooky kids dropping in for a round or two yourselves. Until then, this has been KO City Pirate Radio, and I'll be signing off. You cool cats enjoy your night, and I'll see you tomorrow for some more high-flying, dodgeball in action. Y'all take care out there now, you dig?